Chevrolet Nomad. As you will see, it's in quite a few pieces. And someday will be put together as a beautiful, beautiful automobile. Don, let's take a look around here and see what you got here with the rest of these parts.
Okay, basically what you're seeing now is a lot of the sheet metal work that goes to the front end. The cross arm support, the front grille, the splash pans that wrap around the radiator, a lot of the sheet metal. All these parts have been glass beaded and repainted using a new paint that is impervious to muriatic acid and sulfuric acid. It goes on very well, it's hard, and it's not susceptible to the sun's ultraviolet rays. So in order to do this, I had to pull all the inner fender wells out and all the sheet metal. I pulled the A-frames, both upper and lower. Again, they've all been glass beaded and repainted.
Okay, Don. Looks like you got quite a bit of it done.
Basically, I've tried to stay with original parts whenever they've been available, although finding original parts are very, very expensive if you can find them. I've had this car for 18 years, and during that time it's been garaged for all those years, and I've worked on it periodically on and off. But at this point in time, I really want to make a concerted effort to get it back together. When I got the car originally, it had no engine, no transmission, no windshield, no interior.
So basically, most of these parts that are in here are at least 18 years old, right?
Oh yeah. Well, most of them were originally. The car was complete, pretty well complete body-wise. But through the years, I've been able to pick up parts. For example, that radiator here. This is an original radiator, and you can see that I polished the brass out. It had the brass top and bottom, so I had the radiator rebuilt and rotted and gone through it. And I felt that I wanted the brass to show up, so I just polished it out and put a clear coat Varathane on it to protect so it wouldn't oxidize and corrode.
Looks good. Looks like we've got a Colorado license plate on that one.
Right. On the front fenders here, most of the Chevrolets, when they rusted around the headlight rings up underneath. This car has got two little spots of rust, which I'll show you later, but otherwise it's virtually rust-free.
Looks good to me.
The last time this car was plated, 83, so it hasn't been on the road driven since 1983. Since I've had the car, it's had less than 100 miles put on it.
Well, I remember driving in that thing in Colorado. Had a couple miles driven on it with me. This is the rear end of the 1956 Nomad.
Characteristic of the Nomad were the chrome strips, the vertical chrome strips. That signified that it was a Nomad. This was Chevrolet's top of the line in 1956.
Looking good. You want to open the back, John? We'll take a look and see what's inside.
What I've done to the interior is I've taken all the rest of the interior out, other than the seat and the front door panels, but I've cleaned all the metal down, removed all the old hair pad that they used and tar, and I put 2 coats of undercoating on it. Here in the back, I've got a new hood liner for it, and it has chrome bows that go about every 6 to 8 inches apart from the front to the back. So I do have those chrome bows. This hole here in the back, this used to be where the old spare tire carrier was mounted. And what I've done is I didn't need that, so I took it out. And I'll cover it back over with sheet metal, for flat. Underneath it will go a new fuel cell that I'm having built for it.
Well, we're looking right at the tail end of this thing, Don. What's different about it?
The undercarriage, basically what I've done is I put a 12-volt rear end out of a 69 Camaro underneath the car. It's a lot heavier duty than the original rear end. Also, I've replaced and put new leaf springs and totally taken the frame down to bare metal and primed it and repainted it. The underside has been thoroughly cleaned and undercoated with 2 coats with heavy undercoating material. As you can see, it really turned out nice.
Yeah, it looks nicer under here than it does on top almost.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to get the drivetrain done before I really started on the body and the interior. As far as the car goes, I put all new brakes, wheel cylinder kits, new brake lines, been all the way through, so it's all new parts going back in. So I spent about 80 some hours underneath this thing with a wire brush and a 1/4-inch drill with little wire wheels, taking everything down to bare metal. But it came out very nice, and that's one thing that you only have to do one time. So I've gotten that completed.
Okay, let's take a look at the top side now.
All right.
Okay, we're taking a look down the side of this 1956 Nomad Chevrolet. Looks pretty good. Let's see what we've got here.
This car had been hit in this rear quarter panel at one time. You can see where the body putty is coming out.
Oh yeah,
but
you'll fix that, right?
Oh yeah, that'll all be taken care of. Glass and everything will be, replaced.
Well, let's take a peek in and see what we got.
Again, looking inside, the car's in excellent shape, sheet metal wise. So
You're lucky there.
I didn't have to do too much there.
Well, it really looks good, Don.
Going to the front of the car, I spent about 40 hours reworking the dash, and sanding and repainting the dash, so it came out very nice. Currently, right now, I have all the steering column and everything out of it. I'll be going back with a late model steering column because I want to put tilt steering in. Also, all new wiring. So there are kits available now in California to totally rewire the car. So.
Boy, it looks good.
It's one thing about it, they built these cars solid.
Yeah, they're not like some of them today.
Coming around to the front end, after I got the undercarriage done, I decided to go ahead and take the entire front clip off. And I took the firewall and the frame all down to bare metal. And again, use this new paint that's out. I'm very, very pleased with it. It applies very nicely.
Well, if it stands up to all those bad things that you're talking about, it's great.
The motor is a 1971 LT1 350. It's a truck block 4-bolt main, but yet the small block Chevy has been manufactured since 1956. So it's using the same motor mounts as the original motor that was in it. What I'm saying, it's the same size block. although this motor's had quite a few modifications made to it, it's putting out right at 400 horsepower. So it's all balanced and blueprinted line board. It has high performance camshaft and carburetor. So basically what I did is I pulled the motor out, got it cleaned up, repainted, glass beaded the manifold, and dulled it up with a few chrome parts. So many of the
I see you've got the old favorite dice hanging there, Don.
oh yeah, in fact, yeah, that's a new windshield. They're getting tough to find. So that's part of the era.
I imagine you have to pick up the parts as you get a chance.
Right. This motor developed so much torque that what it did was break the motor mounts and push the distributor back into the firewall. So I designed and built a turnbuckle system here attaching to the block and then to the A-frame connector. So I can actually stabilize that motor to keep that motor tied in there. Thought I'd put a chrome oil pan on it so when I'm underneath it I can check to make sure that my hair's combed.
Your hair's gone. Well, let's take a shot down the left side of this baby.
But as you can see, the car is really, in excellent condition. The body is good and solid. There are only two small rust spots on it, one of which is just below the driver's door, but it's about the size of about half of a dollar bill. But otherwise, the car is virtually rust-free.
Boy, that's nice.
So I haven't had to replace a bunch of sheet metal and everything. So, but it's been a lot of fun, working on it, and I'm getting anxious now to drive it. Particularly since I put this new rear end in it and have made some more modifications to the motor.
Okay, Don, what are we looking at now? Just across from the
cross section of the rear end. Basically, the rear end was identical width as the original rear end, so it was real easy to put it in. I just had to change the purchase. It has air shocks on it, of which are attached to a cross member that I built going between the frames. So I took the shocks off the body to give it some extra support and stiffen up the suspension. So
yeah, with that engine, I'm sure you'll need that.
well, it develops quite a bit of torque. So basically, the car's been put together to handle it.
Well, let's see what we can see up under here. Well, let's take a look up under here. We can get a little shot of the drivetrain.
As you can see, the frame's been all redone, and you're looking at the tail shaft of the transmission. It's a BorgWarner T10 4-speed transmission. Again, heavy duty. It was built to take the torque and everything that motor develops. So.
Well, it looks like you did a better job under here almost than the top will be when you get done.
Well, I really haven't started up top, so mainly trying to get the drivetrain all in good working order and set up and everything before I moved up top.
Well,
so far I'm real pleased on how it's turned out.
she is going to be a beauty, Don. And it looks like that transmission is going to be okay to handle that load, huh?
Yeah, that's true.
They're just now getting back to 400 horsepower out there now. So
Well,
you'll be able to go with the best of them. Well, looks like you still got a lot of work left done, but I'm sure this baby's in good hands. And the next trip out here, it'll look a little different from this one. As it has every trip, you seem to keep doing a little bit.
Well, it's expensive, and
Well, yeah, with all the money you make down that shouldn't be any problem.
it's just a toy, and something that I enjoy working on, and someday we'll have it all together and all the pieces and parts back where they belong. Well, it's been a long time since you saw the first part of the tape that Tom and I did. We were down in Phoenix, Arizona. Since then we moved to Las Vegas. Before we left Phoenix, I put the car back together, put the fenders on, basically got it